Hello and welcome to today's Taking the Leap. I'm Caryn Saitz. I'm the host of Taking the Leap. And Taking the Leap are conversations with women who have created their dream business, have changed their life, and also impact so many others' lives. So I'm super excited today to have April Lukasik with me today. Is that how you say your last name?
Lukasik.
Lukasik, sorry.
That's
I've actually known April for a while, and I've known her through Entrepreneurs Organization. I know you're a member of the Connecticut chapter of EO, and I've worked with EO for 15 plus years. But I also am excited that in April of this year, April, sorry about that, joined Gathering of Titans, which is another amazing organization for entrepreneurs, and it's so exciting to have more women involved and to have you involved. So, welcome to today's Taking the Leap. And it's great to see you.
Thank you, Karen. It's great to see you.
I know in a different environment, right? In our
Yes.
own offices and not amongst, tons of other entrepreneurs. But I really wanted to have you on today because education and childhood education is such an important topic, and it's so front and center for every parent and every person out there today. Whether you have kids or whether you don't, it's just such an important part of our lives. So I want you to tell us a little bit about your company and what you do, and also what inspired you to start the company and to build it to where it is today, because I hear it's a bit of a major anniversary this year.
It is. It is. This is the 25th year in business for myself, my company. So 25 years.
Congratulations. That's a pretty
Thank
big
you.
milestone.
Thank you. I had no idea it would last this long. When I started it, it was something that I was starting for an immediate need in my own personal life. And it just grew and took off. And here we are opening, hopefully, our ninth child care center by the end of this year. So it started with one and it just kept going because the need is there
That's
for.
huge. So tell us a little bit, what does childcare center actually mean?
Yeah,
How old are the kids that participate
sure.
and what does it look like?
Sure. So we care for and educate children from 6 weeks old through preschool, get them really ready for kindergarten. There is a curriculum based environment in every single classroom. All of our teachers have college degrees in early childhood education. It is not babysitting, it is not daycare. It is a fully immersed, uh, taking care of the entire child on so many different levels, from social, gross motor, fine motor, art, science, drama, you name it, we're doing it through play, through a very structured curriculum. But the teachers have a lot of flexibility because the children are all different themselves. So each center has 4 different age programs: infants, 1 year olds, which we call young toddlers,
Hmm.
toddlers or 2 year olds, and then preschool and pre K. So the children progressively learn all the way up through until 5 or 6 years old, and off to kindergarten they go, very ready socially and academically, if you will.
Wow, that is a huge age range. I mean,
It
to
is. It
manage.
is.
And how many kids per center? I mean,
There's
on
about
average.
about 100, 120 per center, and there's a staff of about 30 in each center.
That's huge.
Yeah. It's
Do
interesting
you
you should.
feel this internal responsibility for, every child in the program?
Absolutely. I mean, I think there's about 800, pushing 1,000 kids every day. And when I stop and think about that and I close my eyes and I think of a big playground with, 800 or 900 kids on it, and to think that all of those parents have trusted bright and early with their most precious possession, it's a lot of weight on my shoulders. So I'm so grateful for the executive team that we have, because we share it, and we're all women.
Mhm.
We're Most of us are mothers, so we really come from.
Really? So are all the teachers women as well?
We have one male.
Wow.
Just
Out
he
of
was
all
just
9
hired.
centers.
He was just hired out of all the centers. There's no policy that states we wouldn't hire men, but, in this industry, it's just typically women.
Wow,
But
that's pretty amazing.
the kids love him, though. He's an amazing preschool teacher. So we're not, we're
So
open
now
to,
you're probably gonna expand the amount of men that are,
we'll see. We'll
you
see.
never know, right?
You never know. You never know.
So what really inspired you to open this? I mean,
Yes.
it's a big responsibility. You started with one, but even then, I mean, what was the inspiration and how did you go about starting it?
Sure. So the inspiration was my two children. I was always entrepreneurial by nature. I had another company for about 9 years before this one, and I had closed it as I was pregnant with my daughter Sydney, who I will mention in a couple of minutes because
Mhm.
interesting full circle moment happening this year for me. And I was pregnant with my son Zach, and Sydney was, just one and a half. And I knew I was going to start another company. I didn't know what it was going to be, and I started to realize, well, who's going to be caring for my children? And I don't know if it's because I'm Italian or just mother lion. No one's going to ever be able to take care of my children like I want to.
Uh-huh.
And through that thought process, I said, well, if they need to be with me every day, then I'm just going to open a childcare center. And honestly, I'll be honest, 25 years later, I didn't really know much about it,
Mhm.
but I had this love for children, my own especially, and other people's children. And I could relate to the mothers, because I was going through that internal struggle of how am I going to drop my child off with somebody else? How can I trust anyone else? They're strangers. And so that's how it was born.
And
And
you didn't really see anything out there that sort of fit that need for you.
no, no, I didn't. And
And were you an educator? I mean, were you a teacher?
I
Nope.
was not. I'm an entrepreneur, marketing, business major. So it really just fell into my lap through my own internal, I don't want to call it a struggle, but my own internal need to incorporate my children into my life at that age. I really wanted them with me. I mean, I remember, nursing my brand new newborn son while I'm,
Mhm.
writing up the contracts and enrollments. So
And
it
so then how did you build the vision for the company?
like the core values, I have to say, we started with one core value 20 years ago, like, children first. That's easy. Children
Mhm.
first. Every decision you make, the carpeting you put in place, the organic milk that we serve, whatever it is, children first. And then developed our core values through the years. um, that just stuck, that this was opened for somebody's children, and so all the decisions have to satisfy all the parents.
Right. So you're always measuring it against those values and whether or
Always.
not they fit.
Always, and that makes decision making simple. What would you want for your own child?
So during COVID, were you able to stay open?
We closed for 3 months. Um, we could have stayed open because we were considered first responders, but because we just had such a, we didn't know what was happening with COVID and the fear
Right.
and uncertainty, and because we have all these children, I sort of was thinking, well, what if this spreads in the center and our children get really sick? So I closed just to sort of take a minute and see, health wise, safety wise, how can we prepare for
Right.
what's to come and what's going to be the new normal. And so I did that, and we, bought air filtration systems and, all the PPE and extra staffing. We readjusted. We opened 3 months later. Um, and we've been open ever since. And
Wow.
we adjusted. The teachers are the heart and soul of every single center. They are the heroines.
And and were you able to, in the interim, in the 3 months, did you actually do things virtually for these kids or not really?
No, we didn't do things specifically for the children. We certainly kept in touch with the families, and we were just really brainstorming on safety. To be
What
honest
did you
with
need to do
you,
to really up the
yeah,
quality of the
sort of
centers?
that was the priority during those 3 months. Like,
Right.
what's it going to look like when we open? And we prepared for it.
And thank God from since then you've been able to just stay
Yeah.
open, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. We're fine.
That's pretty amazing. And with the parents, um, did they want you to stay open no matter what? I mean, many of them now are working at home. Has it
Yeah.
changed sort of the dynamic of their need? I mean, for the industry overall as well?
When we reopened, I was surprised at how the parents were like, thank goodness you've reopened. Having the children at home is the the hardest thing ever. It's really hard to work remotely and have children. And I was surprised at the number of people who were just completely comfortable having their children come back, and honored, quite frankly, because
Mhm.
not only is it childcare, but in the middle of COVID, but the parents really wanted us to stay open, and be open, on a
Right.
continual.
Even if they were now home or working from
Oh,
home, they
absolutely.
just couldn't deal with the distraction and the
Right. Yes, they were
and
very
also, were
grateful.
they as much concerned about the socialization of
Yes.
their child as they are about their own needs?
Absolutely, definitely. The socialization is a big piece, getting these children super comfortable in a social setting and sending them off to kindergarten so they're not, in the corner like, "Ooh, can I raise my hand? Do I have enough
Mhm.
self-confidence and self-worth?" So those are some of the core values, that for the children.
Right, and do you actually measure that? I mean, do you actually
Yeah.
follow the kids once they get into, 1st grade and kindergarten in terms of measuring how
No,
they do
we
against
don't.
kids who
We
don't
don't.
actually have that?
We don't continue to measure them after, although the parents, we have so many testimonials that say, sending the children to Brighton early was the best thing, and it felt like our first home away from home, and my child was so prepared. We have a lot of testimonials of gratitude from the parents for the teachers that,
Mhm.
really instilled that confidence and joy of learning for the children.
So what does an average day look like? Like, when does it start in the morning? When do they end? And do kids come for, I mean, all day, or do you break
Yeah,
it up? I mean, you have to feed
no,
them. You have
6:30 to 6. We're
to
open
do all of it, right?
6:30 to 6, Monday through Friday, year round. Teachers' schedules stagger so that there's always, a teacher in the morning and an administrator on site from 6:30 to 6. But it's an all-day experience with, healthy snacks. Like I said, we do organic milk,
Right.
whole foods, fresh vegetables, fresh fruits, the best that we can
But you also have
typically.
to do you have to do lunches for them? And
The parents send in the lunches and we serve them.
wow,
Yeah.
that's an amazing. I mean, that's a long day.
It's a long day, yeah. It's a home away from home, and we have a big responsibility, and we're growing. I think what COVID did was it gave everybody a visualization as to what is really going on all day long, because now they were trying to replicate it at home,
And
and
they
it's
couldn't.
it's not as easy.
Right.
And so childcare is really having a moment right now. It's kind of in fashion to, you know, sing its praises and, put more state and federal money into programs so that everybody gets to be as high quality.
Mhm.
So it's really having a moment. So the growth right now is, there's a
Huge.
lot of growth right now, which is why, as I was saying before, my daughter, who, one of my two children that I opened the center for, she's joining the company this fall as business development director. Her name is Sydney. And
How exciting is that for you?
you have no idea. You have no idea.
Like
And I
full circle, right? You've come
really
full circle.
such a full circle moment. And she's watching right now. So hi,
Uh-huh. Hi,
Sydney.
Sydney. Nice to meet
Can't
you.
wait, can't wait. Her work ethic is amazing. And I just know that we will be able to have stable, controlled growth. You don't want to grow too fast, and yet there's a
Right.
lot of opportunity right now. So we really want to have a very stable team. We have the executive director's been with me for a decade, Kathy, and regional directors, and they each manage a number of centers. And then, Sydney and I do the business development piece, going out scouting new locations, the construction, the
And
project.
can you consider going outside of Connecticut, or because
Yeah.
of yes?
I am actually looking up in the Boston area at some centers.
And
So
are there rules or restrictions or regulations around it
yeah.
that are different by state or
Absolutely. Yeah. The state regulations are governed by the local, administration. For
right.
Connecticut, the OEC used to be, DPH, then it's OEC, Office of Early Childhood for those. And so it is different in each state. So the ratios are different. And
And are there pretty strict regulations around it?
oh, absolutely. And I'm glad there are, because I wouldn't want
Right.
to, round the corners on anything. And our policies and procedures, truthfully, are even more
Your
strict.
standards are even higher.
They are.
I
They
want to go back to that comment around safety for a second
Yeah,
because I think, look, what person, whether they have a child or a young child or not, isn't thinking today about, oh my God, what happens when I leave my child at school? And, when you hear what's going on, how do you deal with it? I mean, what are the kinds of things that you can put into place that at least
Yeah,
make you feel comfortable and also make the parents feel comfortable about leaving their child?
absolutely, Karen, and I remember Sandy Hook and now Uvalde and all of the
Right,
other,
it was in Connecticut too.
oh, I remember the moment. It's, the 9/11. It's
Sure.
one of those moments in our lives that we never forget where you are, how you felt, the tears. Because this is, parents looking for peace of mind, we have to provide it. And I mean, all the centers I know, all the quality centers I know, we're locked. We're always locked down. Every door is locked. Every
Right.
playground has safety. We have cameras in every single classroom, and we always have. Um,
And you just have more safety than you can possibly imagine, right?
yeah. And, we tell parents, they each have a key fob to come into the front door. We say
Mhm.
to them, look, I know you think you know that person, but you don't even hold the door open for people. Close it and just smile and point to the sign on the door that says, do not open the door for anyone that don't know,
Right.
or get the director, get the assistant director. So we're always locked down.
And do you run through scenarios? I mean, do you actually run
We
through, like,
brainstorm in our
safety and security
Yeah.
scenarios?
Yeah, we have emergency plans that are like, take up 13 pages of our manuals, and every year we retrain and retrain and retrain. And you know,
So you're a woman entrepreneur and a very successful one. So the question is, do you think it's because of the industry you're in, or that women are? I'm guessing that women are more accepted as the entrepreneur in this kind of an industry. So is it easier for you to be that entrepreneur in this industry because it's more accepted, or do you see differences?
that's interesting. When I joined Entrepreneurs
It's
Organization,
90% men. I mean,
it's
so
90% men, and it's
right,
maybe 12% women now. And we try to get more women entrepreneurs in. And I thought I would be sort of not overwhelmed or intimidated, but like not comfortable sitting in a forum with nine men and
right,
me discussing my business. But props to all the EO guys that I have ever met, have been so accepting and welcoming of the feminine point of view. And
right.
people
They
say,
need some balance. I
they
mean,
want the balance and they
right.
want our point of view. They really do. And let's see, what was your question?
Well,
So
so it seems to be that it's harder for women as an
I
entrepreneur.
think it used to be. I don't think it is anymore. I really, in my lifetime, from when I started,
Mhm.
with this business 25 years ago to now, I have to say the vibe is completely different. I feel, I don't know if it's my age or what, but I feel more respected now, after more than 2 decades. I
Mhm.
remember being at, a pretty fancy event, a business event, and somebody said to me, "Oh, what do you do?" And I said, "I own a childcare center." And they were like, "That's so cute, honey." And I remember
And you're
going,
like, "Excuse
"You
me?"
have no idea."
Right.
you know and I didn't defend it or say anything. You
Right.
just sort of smile and
But you don't hear that
say
today.
it. And I think the industry has gotten a lot more respect and notice than it has in the past. It's a different industry now. And women,
So
I don't know, I see, maybe it's just the company that I keep, but I feel very respected. I mean, we were just up at MIT with all the entrepreneurs, right?
right.
70. I never feel um, that my gender is a hindrance or makes me less than. Not in this day and age. I think I'm welcomed as a female entrepreneur into the.
So as an entrepreneur and not just a female entrepreneur,
Yeah,
what's been your biggest challenge over, I mean, it's 25 years now, and I'm assuming that those challenges have changed over time. I mean, you've
yeah,
got different
yeah,
phases of the company. Number one, it seems to have kept your interest because you
yeah,
seem just as excited now about it as when you're talking about
yeah.
it in the past.
And I didn't know it would keep my interest. I opened it for my two kids. I wanted one
Right.
center, and I figured once they're off in school, I'll do something else. The biggest inspiration I will start with is each time I open a new center, typically a teacher that's been with me or an assistant director that's been with me for a few years says, I want to be the director. And I can't tell you how that fills my heart to, have a woman that, worked as a teacher go up, up, up. And now she's running a center. She has 30 employees. She's at the executive team meetings. And then it becomes a regional director.
Mhm.
Like seeing a woman grow and being so supportive of each other. I mean, it's
That's
palpable.
an amazing opportunity that a lot of people don't get to be able to you've given them
Really.
a path to growth and success and,
Yes.
to improving their life as well,
Mm.
because they know they could start as a teacher, they can end up running a
Absolutely.
center. That's a
That's what they
huge
want, and it is
right,
a different animal to be a director versus a teacher. It's just a completely different career.
right. It's
But I
huge.
am so inspired by that, more so than, the revenue in the spreadsheets. Like when I open a new center and I'm like, oh, Bailey's going to get to move from here and she's going to go to Middlebury and she's going to be the director. And she's so excited, or, Liz is now regional director and that was her lifelong dream. I love that.
So do
Like,
you
that's
actually
what
have a
I'm.
training program or something in
Oh, yeah.
place? Yeah. So
Oh,
talk a little bit about how you do that.
well, Kathy is the executive director. She is in charge of hiring the regionals, and the regionals hire the directors. So there is this support system. And yet we definitely feel like we're a team. We have new corporate offices this year also, where we gather and we have a rubric where we have all team meetings, executive team meetings. We get together as a company, we get together as directors with the higher execs, and then just the execs. So there's a ton of different
So
ways.
there are levels now and it is
Oh, yeah, there's 3 and 4 levels of management on top of, each center,
and
and
so
so
when they come
yeah.
in, they already start their training in terms of I mean,
Yeah,
can you come in and just say, "You know what? I wanna be a teacher for life," or I'm coming in and, "You know what? I really wanna grow with your
both.
company and I wanna open my own center for you."
Yes
Both.
to all of the above, yeah. I mean, some people I Miss Wendy's been with us 25 years. She was my child's first teacher,
Uh-huh.
Zach's, infant teacher, preschool. Miss Wendy is still there, and I've said to her over and over again, "Are you sure you don't wanna, be an assistant director, a director? Wendy, you know this business inside and out." She's like, "Nope. I just wanna be in the
She
baby room.
loves
It's
teaching.
the most fulfilling thing for me." And, we still, like, ask her questions like, "Well, what do you think about this?" Or, "What do
Right.
you have all this experience," but her pride and joy is being a teacher, where you have other people who use teaching as a stepping stone to the administrative.
Right, because it's different. I mean, I think being a
Very
teacher
different.
and running a business are really quite different, aren't they?
They are. They are. They're very different.
And
And
different
so
skills and different knowledge and different, I
mhm.
mean, kind of everything. So definitely makes it probably, it's easier to identify the ones who want to go into the business aspect of it
Yeah. You can
versus the
tell.
ones
You
that
can
want to
sort of
just
tell.
teach,
Yeah, not just teach.
not
Teach.
just teach, because that's the most important
They
aspect of
are
it.
everything. Teachers are
Right.
everything.
Without that, you have got
Oh, yeah.
nothing, right?
Absolutely. And, as the executive team, we're in charge of we did something new this year called PopUp Perks, and we came up with this during COVID. Like, how can we surprise the teachers and
Hmm.
bring joy into their life? And so, for instance, last week was National Donut Day, one of my favorite holidays. And so we bought donuts, fresh donuts, not, we went and sought out the artisan donut shops
Right.
in each center, tons of donuts, and we decorated with donuts. And, these are just the little things that make the teacher feel like, wow, they really care about me. In addition to that, professional development. It's not just donuts, obviously,
Right,
but
right, right. Workshops and
development, teacher
things that really help
appreciation.
them move up the ladder.
Yeah. So I mean, taking care of the teacher's needs is just as important as taking care of the children's needs.
That's
100%.
that's so true. And I'm assuming that, from what you're saying, that you've kept these people for a long time. So in the
We have
25 years,
so many
some of
teachers.
them are really tenured.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And
And
that's a
that's got to be a great feeling that they want to stay with you and
oh
continue with
yeah.
you.
And then their children, like, they're, can my child volunteer? 10 or 15 years has gone by and their child is
Right,
now 18 or 20, and maybe they want a career in education. Can they come and, shadow a classroom? So, and I mean, my own daughter, here we go.
right.
So
The kids are so young. Do they actually remember their experience?
I think so.
Yeah.
Don't you? Don't you remember? I
I
remember.
guess, I mean, I remember
I remember.
kindergarten. I remember, putting the mats on the floor and we had to, take a nap. And like, I remember the room and I remember, kindergarten. I'm not sure I remember like, pre-kindergarten kind of thing, you know?
Well, they say that the most important thing to remember is not sort of the tangible things, but how you felt. So
Hmm.
if that child feels good when they're with us for those, 1 to 5 years, if
Right,
they feel good, they'll remember, and then there'll be pictures. I think pictures bring memories to the forefront,
right.
to the top.
Like, I have my
Yes.
kindergarten picture, and I remember my teacher, Mrs. Rosenthal. Like, I remember,
Yeah,
the room, the school. I can see who was in my class, because I
yes,
have the pictures from it. I still have them, which is pretty cool. But
yes.
I'm just wondering today, if it's different, because there's so many other stimulants today that, that are good and positive. Like, do you use technology in the classrooms?
Yes, but not too much because the interaction human to human is the most important in
Hmm.
my opinion, especially at this age. The children don't use technology, but the teachers each have an iPad in the
Right,
classroom, and we have a program called Tadpoles that checks the children in and out, and it also creates. It's a platform where the teachers are able to create their lesson plans, and they send the daily report home to the parents each day. They take pictures of the children, send them home to the
wow.
parents, and so on and so forth. But we don't really want children sitting in front of an iPad.
So, yeah, so no technology for the kids, but
Not
yes
none.
to.
I think in the preschool, I think there's a little bit where we do have a computer station with some learning
Mhm,
experiences, but I like to keep it to a minimum. There's plenty of technology at home
right,
and plenty of technology, coming their way. I want a crayon in their hands. I want them expressing how they feel on a piece of paper or paintbrush or Play-Doh, tactile.
right.
I want them to build things
To
and
actually
create.
right. So, you're a woman entrepreneur, and I'm sure that part of your goal is to also inspire other women entrepreneurs to take the leap. Um,
Absolutely.
and since I know you, I know that is definitely something that you really believed in.
I
What do
do.
you wish someone would have told you when you first started out that would have made your life easier that you want to share with other women who want to take the leap but are sort of stuck and they're not sure? What would have made the whole process easier for you, or you wish you knew?
I think that I had good advice, but I didn't take it. And the advice that I remember my parents, there was a particular woman who was older and she was exiting a child care. So I was having some conversations with her. She would just say, trust your instincts, April. You know all the answers, kind of like Dorothy on the Wizard of Oz. And, I'm
Right.
sitting here at 30 years old going, I have no idea. And she's just like, you have to trust your instincts. And I used to be like, just tell me what to do. And she would just repeat that. And now looking back, the answers they're always here for you. And so trusting your own instincts is what, when I meet a young woman who's just getting started and she
Mhm.
says, what do you think about this? And I'll say, well, what are your options? Close your eyes for just a minute. What do you think? What do you feel? There's your answer. You don't need me to tell you the answer. You know the answer. So trusting instincts, I think, surrounding yourself with like-minded entrepreneurs, join a
Mhm.
group, delve into it, make it your experience, like the entrepreneur organization
Own your
experience.
experience.
Travel, go take classes, join industry groups. I felt that I was an island and I kind of lived in a bubble for
Mhm.
many, many years. And I wasn't out in the community, other entrepreneurs, until probably the last 10 or 15 years. The first 10 years, I just went to work every day and just did what I
Right.
did. I had no idea what I was
Oh,
creating.
your
And
own professional development, it was just your own thing. I mean, it
yeah,
wasn't like.
I had no idea. And then when I joined the group, they were like, what do you think makes you a great entrepreneur? And I'm like, I have no idea. And my daughter, actually, I remember, she goes, Mom, it's your policies. So I grabbed all my binders with all the policies and I went to a meeting and I was intimidated. I was new in the group
Yeah.
and it was all men. And they were like, what do you mean your policies? And I'm like, well, I was told that I'm really good at operations and here's my policies. And these guys are flipping through my binders and looking at the forms and they're like, can we hire you? And I'm like, no, I'm not for hire. But I realized that my organization and my attention to detail was definitely the foundation for the success. So trust your instincts, organization, surround yourself with like-minded entrepreneurs, male or female, but of course, especially females, because you can
Yep.
share.
Keep upping your skills.
Yeah, and always be learning. Always be
Yeah.
learning.
So lifelong learning.
It
And
is.
so now you're looking ahead. It's
Yes,
25 years.
yes.
What do the next 5 years or 10 years look like for you?
25
If you
centers.
could close your eyes, what do you want them to look like?
I want them to look the way they look now. I want them to still have that attention to detail, that familial feel when you walk in, that warmth, that heart, that soul. I always want to feel like somebody knows that a woman owns this business and you can see her heart and soul into it, no matter how many centers we grow to.
Mhm.
Sure, I'd love 25 centers and I'm sure we'll get there soon. But to keep the roots, keep that root and the foundation, the
So
quality.
don't lose, I mean, those are your core values now,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely, and I haven't lost them yet, so I will not lose them as we grow.
And on a personal level, do you see yourself wanting to do this in the next 10 years?
Sure, why not? I love it.
Okay.
I love it. And, I actually am very much in the business development piece where I go out and I find the location and,
Right.
it's like I have all my demographic studies and books, but, like, I drive down a street, I look around, and I go, "Yes." Like, again, the answer is there. You don't really need to, well, you
Right.
do
You
need to
you
back
know
up
it in
with
your
some
gut.
data,
It's
but I don't wanna waste all of this experience. It becomes easier and easier and easier. So why start something new when what I'm doing has become and has always been and is still
and you
such
love it.
a joy.
I
I love
mean,
it. I
if
love it.
if you can wake up every morning and feel like you're making a difference, and clearly, I mean, making a difference in children that are that age is,
Yeah,
I mean, there's no better time. I mean, that is those are the years that are going to matter in a
they
child's
do.
life.
They matter so much. There's so much. I mean, I could recite statistics and say,
Right.
"Go look at
Right.
this study or that study," but the truth is, it it matters.
Well, I
It
I thank you. And I'm sure there are hundreds and hundreds of families and parents out there that thank you for doing what you do, because it's changed their life. It's allowed them to go out and do what they
Yeah.
love and grow, and it's allowed their kids to do the same. And it's really a win-win for everybody.
It is. I'm so grateful that they come through the doors and trust us. I'm very grateful for the families and the teachers. Always the
Well,
teachers. Yeah.
yeah, well, and you know what? I think teachers, I don't think they could ever be thanked enough for what they do.
Right. Agreed.
So I think that's a really special, it's really special when you can thank them on an ongoing basis, and
Yes.
also just really give them the recognition that they deserve.
Yes. We
So
strive to do that every day.
and that's, I'm sure that's one of your main values. So that's great. So empowering women, I think you do an amazing job. I love that you help these women grow, that they become part of your bigger family. So,
Mhm.
and I get the feeling it is one big family.
It
So
is. It really is. We have a lot of fun doing what we do.
so
We
tell people how they can find you. So your company is Bright and Early, which I should have started out with.
brightandearly.com. I'm on LinkedIn. We have a Facebook page for every single center, corporate Instagram account. Just, type in Bright and Early. And the website is Bright and Early with AND spelled out.
Mhm.
.com. Easy
So if
breezy.
you have a child and they're in the Connecticut area, that's a great place to go. And if you are a woman and you live in another part of the country and you're thinking about the need in your own area,
Mhm.
I'm sure that April would be an amazing resource and sounding board for you to
Happy,
chat with.
happy to mentor anybody. I do mentor other female entrepreneurs, but especially in this industry. If anyone out there has questions, LinkedIn me, message me. I would be more than happy to share. It's my pleasure.
Thank you so much for your time
Thank
today. I
you,
know it's
Caryn.
precious. I love chatting with you, and I
Same.
know it's such an important industry and topic that I feel honored to have been able to share that with so many other people. So thank you so much for your time. Have a great day. Thanks everybody for listening. This will be posted on YouTube. And also, it'll be on LinkedIn, as well as some of the other social media platforms. And I look forward to seeing you next week on Taking the Leap. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.